I shouldn't have got so high for the...
It's okay, I'm high too.
Yeah.
Now I gotta find my notes.
Oh my god, I thought it was Todd.
Why would I want to do that? Whatever, man. Fuck. Yeah, what fuck you should do it.
Alright, I got my blasters.
I'll join Gold Gang, sure, why not?
Hey, April?
Yeah, I'll join Gold Gang, shoot. Let's go.
No.
Wow. Denied. Denied. I guess my $1 million will have to go somewhere else.
Sorry, just trying to get my documents up
Wait, are you two sat on each other?
Nope. Yeah, we are.
Okay.
I believe the correct term is they are currently inside one another.
Thank you, Shields.
And
You're
I
very
don't want to
welcome.
ever exit her.
Oh,
What
Excuse me.
you're going to do what to her?
You heard?
Damn.
If only Todd and Higgins were here to hear that.
Todd is here. He's literally right there in the white suit.
That's not
That's
Todd.
fake, Todd.
What?
That's Ford.
That's not Todd.
No, if you look at Mr. Blaze very carefully, it has been told to me that it looks like Todd and Forrest
fuck is Mr.
Hawthorne had a
Blaze?
baby.
Yep, that's what I hear too.
Sounds like a talk show host for a Food Network TV show.
Bobby Blaze.
I said the
Solicitor
80s
General.
called and can he have his suit back?
You should
I'll
see
give
his
you the
car.
suit back when it's on the floor.
Oh.
In front of his husband?
He can join too.
Oh my
Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm just getting this ready, and I was going to put it up on Twitter so
What are
everybody
you
could
getting
have
ready
access to this
specifically?
document.
Court horny or what?
Okay.
My documentation so that I could get everybody to where they could see it, so they had time to look through it instead of me having to read everything out.
I mean, we'll probably still have to do that.
I came here to listen, not to read.
You can read. You're a big boy.
No.
He was never taught how to read.
Never taught how to read. Signs his things with an X.
That's writing, not reading.
I feel
How
like they
does
don't
Butters work
teach
on
how to
crayon?
read over in SAP.
They don't teach us how to read in Med either. It's fine.
I'm scared to go to Sam's now.
Come on, Shield, sit in the chair. It's not that hard.
I don't need to read to do surgery. Okay.
I had a mission to do.
Hey, you just
I-
this is out, please.
Okay,
Get
yeah.
you out of that car
fair
and
point.
put your ass in jail. It worked.
Danny, are you gonna take notes of anything that's like quick, just bullet point notes of things that are said by people?
Yes, that was what I was planning to do as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That dumbass up there at the far left, he's the chief now.
I'm too high to get that. I'm just going to read it to people.
On the seats, he's far left in the seats. Sitting down, far left.
Charlie, your description is the worst. Clumsy. This row of
Here,
seats,
hold on.
The very front on the left with the red hair.
Hold on.
Description is shit.
This dumbass right here.
Why am I the dumbass?
Yo, who the fuck said my name? We got beef?
You're the chief now, right?
Of LSPD, yeah.
Who fuck said my name? We got beef?
Who's saying what?
Mr. Mal, can you please go behind the bars?
But
We'd like
Who said my name?
Mr. Mal.
Clumsy, please.
Who said my name?
please.
The seat's comfy.
I don't want to have to give you contempt, and also you're not the defendant right now.
You know what else is comfy?
I
Handcuffs.
always am.
Get
defending.
behind the bar.
Keep my name out your mouth.
Byron.
That's right, Clumsy. You tell him.
Oh my god, it's clumsy.
All right, so I guess we'll start with one of the... I guess we'll start from the top down. One of the new
Like-
proposed... What?
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Do you want me to take you from the top down?
No, I just heard.
Can we
talk
get on
and-
with this?
Go ahead.
Okay, first proposed change would be a charge called criminal organization violence. This is going to be a new charge that would be proposed as a felony charge. 20 months, $10,000 fine. Described as any act of violence committed as part of a criminal organization toward another known criminal organization. Charges can be stacked under Title I, offenses against persons.
Here's stack.
You did.
Any concerns or comments from anybody on that one?
That's very
What's the justification behind this one? The rationale and the
Byron,
reason
can
that
you
it
talk
is.
louder?
Yeah, you need to yell. You're quiet even for me next to you.
How about
Byron
let's not
said,
stack?
"What's the rationality behind this charge?"
Is that better?
The rationale behind this charge is the PD has came to me and said that lately there has been a lot of gang-on-gang violence, and they have no current charges to apply to these instances other than basic assault. They were looking for a way to handle these type of charges, and I felt this might be the best suited charge to assist with that.
I have a question.
Okay,
Go
what's the
ahead.
question?
Can that charge be stacked?
This charge itself, no, but it will stack with charges of assault.
So it's.
So I can get
murder.
13
So that's still stacking.
assaults and
Yes.
that.
And that, yes, that is correct.
Well, I
So that's
also
still
get
stacking.
criminal use of a firearm.
That would be stacking.
Still
Because this would
stacking.
encompass criminal use.
Yeah, that would be stacking. I don't think the officers will be doing that.
Can you
This
please remove
charge
your
covers
helmet?
that.
It kind of
Nah,
sounds
I'm
like
leaving.
stacking because you're just adding a charge to the charges we're already getting.
The point of this one, Charlie, is that there's a lot of situations where there will be a shootout and both sides dip, and all we have is a shootout happened and there's no victims, which means criminal use of a firearm. And considering these are shootouts that are happening in populated areas, this charge is designed to create punishment for doing that in a city such as San Andreas.
Okay.
Good shit, Shield.
College is so hot.
Thank goodness Shield is here.
Any other questions, concerns, comments for that one?
I'm sorry, did you state the time and fine for that one already, or has that not been decided?
20 and 10.
20 and 10,
I'm
thank you.
proposing it to be a felony with 20 months and $10,000 fine.
That seems a little excessive if you're allowing it to stack with assault. I'm going to be honest. It should be one or the other.
It shouldn't
Oh,
be
yeah.
stacking to begin with. It should just be that.
I think the reason that it's able to be stacked is because if there is end up being a murder, then if you charge them with this and then someone was to die, then you couldn't stack it. That's why it says it can be stacked with it, just in case someone was to die.
I will say from an enforcement point of view, it's either if we can prove there are victims, you will get assault charges. There are no victims, then you will get this charge instead. I don't see a position where I would ever stack this plus assault. I would only ever do this plus something like murder if someone does die. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just because something can be stacked doesn't mean it needs to be stacked.
You already
It
know
can be
you're going to
stacked,
push
it will
that.
be stacked.
Yeah, you already know you're damn well going to push that.
Hey,
So you guys would propose the wording to be changed to make it non-stackable.
Basically.
Clumsy, there should
Is
be
there?
food
Okay.
and water by the vending machines at the back.
Thank you.
Okay,
Solicitor
well,
Can you
General,
grab me some, Clumsy?
I
and
would
bring
like
it
to
up
see
here?
it be used
Please.
that either law enforcement officers would use this charge in a situation where there are no victims on the scene. If there are proved victims, you'd use assault. And then the only point that anything else would be applied is an escalated charge, such as manslaughter plus. Because 20 months and 10K is a pretty hefty fine already, stacking assaults on top of that. While I will reprimand people who do that, we can't always stop it from happening. So I would like that worded a little more specifically, perhaps.
I mean, it's a good arguing point for lawyers as well to potentially be negotiations to drop charges.
So is the idea that this is kind of like the heinous clause?
Can't hear you, Justice.
Gotta yell.
Please yell.
I'm
The-
trying.
Louder.
Is that better?
Yes.
I think you're better.
Is the point that this is kind of like the heinous charge? It's something to be added on and allow further maxes to be, I guess, superseded?
No, I think, Your Honor, the point was like if there's a massive shootout between two groups, bullets are flying, people are injured, but then they grab people and run off and leave them, and we have no victims, there's still a charge for that because they put the public's safety at risk.
They only get charged with criminal use of a firearm right now, which is a slap on the wrist.
Gotcha.
Who would this charge be against in terms of our paperwork? Would we say it's against the state or against individuals? The victim, I should say.
It would be against the state since it's putting the
general
lives
populace at
of-
risk.
Exactly.
Okay.
I did take those notes to only apply this when there's no victims, and that the only time this could stack with murder charges, that's in the note. Obviously, this stuff has to go up to the justices to make the decisions, but I did put those notes in there for everybody.
I'll start move over. He's like half on the edge.
Popular areas. What if I do this in Sandy where there's no one?
There's still meth heads up there. There's people too.
Who the hell goes to Sandy Shores?
Meth
Sorry.
heads.
I got you. I'm gonna start doing shootouts in the woods. Technically not popular area.
Stay the fuck out of my woods.
Fuck
Fuck
you.
your woods.
Yeah, that's animal cruelty at that point, baby.
I never hit an
No.
animal. You would have to
That's
prove I hit
10
the
and
animal.
10.
The next discussion would be for drug trafficking. This would be a court charge proposed for a felony with a maximum time of 1 year with no maximum fine. The description would be large criminal marijuana operations not approved by the Department of Justice for growth of cannabis or creating cannabis-related items. This charge requires somebody to have a minimum of 5 planters with a maximum fine of $10,000 per planter and cannot be stacked with other charges in relation to cannabis. Along with this, I'd be looking to decriminalize 5 joints of Reggie if we approve it. I'll open up to questions, comments, concerns.
I will also point out that this has been noted as a court charge, so this would go before a justice before being formally charged for at present. I believe. Is that correct, Mr. Blaze?
Yeah, it has court.
That is correct. So
Okay.
the officers would have to present why this would be considered trafficking to the justices. Questions, comments, concerns?
If that was going to be the case, would it be like, would this be a charge that we could only press against like the owner of the home or the place that has the planters in it? Or if we have proof that someone else who doesn't own the place was operating it, could they be charged as well?
That's a good question that I've not addressed. I would assume it would be the owner of the home. I can make note of that so the justices can discuss that.
My question would be, what if they're renting their warehouse out and the people that they're renting it to decide to grow 10 marijuana plants? Who's responsible then for it? Would it be the rentee or would it be the person that owns the warehouse?
I would hope you have a rental agreement that states that anything that happens within that residence is not your liability.
That's what I had. I actually had a house mortgage that was in my name, but they had a lot of criminal stuff found in there after it got raided. So, but because of the way my contract that they signed was written and everything, I was not held liable. So, just hope that if you're renting, you have have them sign a thing that they have all responsibility. I know we used to have a place on the docket that we had to put all of that. So that might be something we'd have to bring forward or bring back if needed.
So is this charge complementary or going to be separate than PC 2706, manufacturing a controlled substance?
This one can't be stacked with any other cannabis-related charges, so it would be on its own.
Okay.
I don't want to stack these charges on people, but
Got it. So this would be
it's much
completely
more
separate and tied to discovery of
large
planters.
grow operations.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, so
No. sorry.
The next one we'll talk about will be a charge called ATM tampering. The proposal is a felony with 10 months maximum time, $3,000 fine.
Yo, you got mail.
Oh, I do. My pocket can stay how it is for now.
Okay.
Can you repeat the time and fine? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Proposed 10 months, $3,000 fine.
At that point, make it 10 and 2.
Proposed 10 and 2?
Yeah, might as well make it 10 and 2 at that point. You could say that 10 and 2.
I'll make note on that.
Was this ATM tampering or
Yeah.
was this
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
ATM tampering.
I would propose 10 and 4 because the amount that you can get from an ATM sometimes can exceed almost 10 and 4, close to it.
Well, once we get to the description, you might understand a little bit more.
Okay, sorry.
The description would be ATM tampering refers to any unauthorized modification or manipulation of an automated teller machine by any group of individuals with the intention of stealing money or sensitive information. So this covers people drilling it, people hacking it, whatever way they may be trying to get into this ATM.
Got it, it's catch-all. Okay.
Is there something in this that's going to cover registers as well?
That's what I was going to ask.
There'll be stuff on that as we get further down into the section here. There's 3 charges being proposed, and then the removal of tampering.
Thank Christ.
So we'll jump down to the other charges related to that here for just a moment. The next one of that kind of same category would be unauthorized use of a computer system. This is proposed as a felony with 15 months, $7,500 fine. The description would be any unauthorized access to computer systems or databases, private or government.
So what would that mean in terms of, I guess give me an example of who would get that charge?
People trying to get into the systems at Life Invader. If somebody was found at the FIB building trying to get into their system, somebody got into MRPD, was trying to get into their system, stuff like that.
And that would also cover if somebody was trying to defraud the hospital. Is that?
If somebody was
happened
trying
once.
to get into your records, then yes, that would cover that as well.
Okay.
And then the last one in that subset would just be electronic tampering. This is proposed as a misdemeanor with 5 months and $1,000 fine. Electronic tampering is defined as electronic tampering with property of another person or entity with the intent to cause substantial inconvenience or gain unlawful access for monetary gain. This is the one that would cover the thing you asked about of registers.
Well, that would cover electronically hacking into it. What if they pry into it with a crowbar?
Sounds like robbery to me. So you would propose a charge directly for somebody prying open a register?
I think a charge for just both hacking and or prying a register.
I mean, at the very least, it's probably vandalism.
Burglary and vandalism probably works.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intention behind this improvement of charges is because technically right now with the proof of burden we have, someone prying a register for a few $100s, we could technically articulate tampering, which is a ludicrously high charge.
Yeah, isn't it like
we wanted to
7K?
split it. Yeah,
It's a lot.
7K.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
insane. So we
mean-
wanted to split them up and reduce the
Yeah, with this comes the proposal to remove the entirety of the tampering law.
yeah, so the tampering charge is effectively being superseded by the unauthorized use one for those situations where it makes sense, where it is a large charge, and then these other ones smaller charges, as you heard, for things that are generally not as severe in nature, so that we don't have things like, oh, technically I can articulate tampering, so get fucked kind of things happening. We're not just out there to fuck you guys.
Stop lying.
Yeah,
it's a
so
lie.
for reference, a lot of these charges are severely lower than tampering. Tampering itself is currently 15 and 7.5, which would line up with unauthorized use of a computer system under the new.
I'll have you know, Clumsy, I suggested a lot of these.
The new suggestions.
You suggested them?
Yeah, I sat with the Solicitor General for 2 hours working through a bunch of these scenarios to fix this stuff so that the charging is a lot fairer.
Cool.
Okay, so that'll bring us to the next one.
Wait, I did have a question.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone worry that maybe this is overcomplicating an already pretty simple charge, and maybe the fact that the charge is, set at a specific time and fine is not necessarily reflective of what prosecutors need to be charging people if they don't feel that it meets the severity? So is it really worth having 2 new charges instead of just being responsible with how we use the existing ones? I guess it's more of a food for thought question.
Speaking,
I believe that having having
you go.
different charges for the different style of crimes allows us as LEOs to build patterns around specific individuals. So I personally like having the 2 separate charges.
But can't you guys use case files to build patterns rather than individual charges?
Potentially.
I would also like to state that as a lawyer, it is notoriously difficult to try and negotiate anything under half time or fine usually. So with these reductions, it makes our jobs a lot easier as well. If we were to put something in place that was like lesser tampering, then maybe that might be a stopgap. But this seems to be a more clear path for everybody involved.
Can you please remove your mask?
I just want to make sure that all officers know and are clear that you don't have to charge the maximum if you don't feel that it meets that severity. So I think that could solve a lot of problems for people, but I don't know. Sorry.
Trust me, I've tried on a daily basis. It's not easy.
Officers typically don't charge the maximum unless they're very extreme circumstances that call for that.
No, but you got some that don't never go below half neither. Under any circumstances.
Right, and so at this point, we're basically just making a law to force them to do that, which is, I don't know. I feel like there could be a better way to go about that, but
It's not very productive or a good use of time to create things around a problem. That's a band-aid solution.
I can tell you as the assistant sheriff, I don't know where this sentiment of there is no situation you can never go below half goes. As
It's
far as I'm
LSPD
aware,
that does it.
I was about to say, yeah.
It should have always been to the severity of the crime committed.
I'm aware of that, and that is listed in the penal code itself, but through my experiences as a lawyer, I've found it notoriously difficult to get anything below half on some of these, in the majority of cases. Even when it's a minor tampering charge, such as...
Please remove your mask.
Such
I've only ever got it below half. What, LSSD?
Such as an ATM or a till. So, I mean, if we wanted to complicate it less, then maybe a lesser tampering charge, like greater and lesser tampering or something like that. But so combining the lesser charges into one and have unauthorized use of computer systems as kind of a grand tampering, I suppose.
So sort of like what we've done with...
Makes it sound like they're
Grand
trying to
Theft Auto.
break into the blooming Fort Knox when you call it grand tampering.
I know. Look, I'm not good at words this early in the morning, okay?
Tampering Alpha, tampering Bravo.
That's the way that it would be.
Yes, probably.
Well, I do understand it does bring some complication to officers to have to know these new laws. I feel it would give a more defined definition of what crime actually occurred. This one, right now with tampering, it is used in ways that it shouldn't be.
How so?
I mean, I will say
It's a bit vague.
I will say, it's the chief. Tampering as it is right now really fucks people. It is a bit of a shit charge for what people get for it, you know. So I don't disagree that it needs changing.
Well,
should we go ahead?
I mean, it is a shit charge if you charge them as much as you possibly can.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
if you, as the police and the prosecution, decide to match the force of the law with the, actual crime. So it's not that the law is fucking them, it's that the police and the prosecutors are. It's not that the law is written badly, it's that the officers aren't being flexible enough when it comes to gauging the severity of the crime and the punishment needed.
But
And I
that's
guess
the
that's
even-
my ultimate point, is that why make it more complicated when all we really need to do is have an attitude change?
But Byron, that's been an issue since you and me were lawyers.
I know, I just like to continue to remind people of it.
Not to mention, should we look at adding new charges versus editing existing ones? So instead, we reduce time and fine on tampering and change the definition a little bit so that people aren't getting fucked instead of adding.
Yeah, but
3
then
new
it's
charges.
not a. There needs to be the charge of what the tampering is, which is the unauthorized use of a computer system for people who do like the data stuff from like Life Invader and such. So that fits that crime, but the lesser of it, it's too much for that. It's too much of an all-encompassing crime that fucks the smaller bits of it up.
Yeah, and y'all's effective minimum for everything is whatever half is.
I think the best way to handle tampering as is we make a tampering A and tampering B. Tampering A to encompass the lower side of things such as registers, ATMs, and the like, while a higher tampering, which would be tampering B, to encompass Life Invader and other more serious items of tampering.
Okay, so I've noted all those down. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one here. The proposed addition would be a charge for human trafficking. This would be a court charge with a proposal of a felony for 2 years and a fine set at judge discretion. This is defined as the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons by means of threat, use of force, deception, or other forms of coercion for the purpose of exploitation. Any questions, comments, concerns, proposed changes?
I'd like to know where the charge came from, i.e., what's the reason that we need it?
It was proposed by officers, so I wrote something up to have it available for them.
Understood. All right.
Could you read that proposed charge out again?
The definition or the time and fine?
The definition.
The recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons by means of threat, use of force, deception, or other forms of coercion for the purpose of exploitation.
Is this stackable with kidnapping or hostage taking?
Well, those wouldn't really fit within the same definition.
I think this is kind of like a step above.
Yes, this
kidnapping
would
or
be the
hostage
step
taking.
beyond.
This is the way to ensure that they can
Oh,
get
this is
a higher court punishment.
Okay, so this is for human trafficking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So let's, for instance, if somebody were to take someone against their own will and force them to work for them, that would come under this charge.
Put him in fucking custody, man. What the fuck? If I can get this through the metal detector, it'll be really funny.
Can we get?
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You want to get out? Get out. You cannot talk me out.
Well, we all know what to do with that.
Want to get out or not?
No one even flinches anymore.
I.
You know, it's bad that people don't flinch anymore.
We're just accustomed to this way of life now.
So does anybody have questions, comments, or concern with that charge?
Oh!
What the hell was that?
No, he's not.
Are you okay?
Danny?
I'm fine. I just saw somebody fall off their chair. It's fine. Okay,
I-
he's
I-
walking.
I
He's
saw
fine.
I saw it too, Danny. It's okay.
Wait, where are you going, April?
Okay. Do we want to move on, or?
Yep, hearing no questions, comments, or concerns, I'll move on to the next one. The next one is a proposal of the splitting of the obstruction charge. This would be to obstruction A and obstruction B. We'll start with obstruction A. Currently, I don't have this labeled for felony misdemeanor, which one it would be yet. The proposed charge would be 10 months with a $5,000 fine, with the definition of indirectly tampers with the evidence, discovery, apprehension, conviction, or punishment of a crime after a crime has been committed or charged.
We might want to put a brief recess while all the PD have since left to deal with what they are dealing with. I'm sure they want to be here for this.
My only comment on these two charges is that you should remove the word tampers from the definitions, because that would be very confusing considering we're going to have more tampering charges that exist. So I would just maybe call
At
it
the same time, though, you need something to describe the tampering of evidence.
obstruct. Indirectly obstructs evidence, discovery, apprehension, conviction, or punishment of a crime.
So indirect obstruction with, okay, we can change that.
Yeah, because having tampering in there, you're defining a different
confusing.
charge with tampering, which is already has its own definition, so that will get really confusing.
What was the wording you said? Indirect what?
Indirectly obstructs evidence, discovery, apprehension.
We're not a parking lot. Why is there a car up here?
That's a chili bin. It's not a car.
Still vehicle.
I can see where the confusion would come from, but
Hmm?
at the same time,
Okay. I missed some. Like what? I didn't. We're saying.
Hell yeah. Are we on recess?
I would assume yes. We are
Yes.
currently on recess.
There will be a
see this.
brief recess whilst we sort out what on earth is going on.
I'm gonna look through the window.
Chambers.
And Peter. But, okay, no goodbye for me. Okay, I see.
I'd
how it
rather
is.
watch.
Oh, there's no more food back here.
I'm glad I bought class 3s outside the courthouse for this.
I'll go into chambers.
Say less.
There's some food back there behind the bench as well.
With these definitions, I'm trying to make sure that if there's a charge that already fits or is, doesn't need much change, I think we just simply.
What, do you wanna go into
modify
chambers
definition charge of
while
it.
Yeah.
we-
You heard what
Yeah.
happened. Did you hear what they just said?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Forrest, we're gonna go into chambers.
I'm sure they did.
Oh, absolutely. And
Sure.
yes. I did propose one change simply because I felt nobody has done it yet, but the threat of it, because it is a legal definition, is too dangerous as is. Grand Theft Auto B.
So what's actually going on out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, what up? Yeah. It's just there's a lot of officers outside, so I feel like me going
Yeah,
outside
but there's
isn't
only
gonna.
me and you inside. That's what I'm saying to get others.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Gotcha. I thought you were telling me to go outside.
No, not at
Hi
all.
and bye.
Oh, are you
Take
heading off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take care. You too.
Oh no. Okay, just gonna leave without hugs.
What? Did I? Oh.
If I had like bandaged a second.
It's good to see you again.
Help
Okay.
if needed, but
I'm back.
Oh. Yeah, want to get that scene too.
Yeah, no shit on me. Got
Yeah, I
3
know.
joints.
hey, there's 3 joints, 3 of us in a circle. It's fine.
Hey.
Hey, Danny.
Reggie's gonna be
Hey.
decriminalized probably. So.
Hey, Danny. You want to hear my LSSD interview questions?
Go on. Let's hear them.
All right. All right. So, first question.
Yeah.
How do you de-escalate a situation with a suspect? That's an easy question, right? That's an easy one.
Yeah.
The next question is, you arrive on scene and you find a 2-story tall duck. What is its weak point and how do you go about taking down the beast?
2 stories tall. Goodness
Yep.
me.
Okay, next question. What's your greatest strength and what's your greatest weakness? No, normal question.
Yeah.
What is your end goal? Why did you want to join LSSD? You want to be a detective, whatever the fuck. And then my final question is, have you ever purchased or sold GAC? And have you ever consumed GAC?
What the fuck is GAC?
Coke.
Okay, you passed the test. You
My
don't know what
question-
it
I
is,
was
therefore.
literally gonna ask that.
What the? Wait, Coke is in like.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Oh, not the
Yeah,
drink you
yeah.
drink. Okay.
No.
No. Coca.
Yeah, it's called GAC on the street.
So wait, what if they said yes? Because I know there's a
Then
person
I'd
standing
arrest
here
them
that
on the
has.
spot.
All right, well, Kaya, put your hand behind your back.
No, Kaya found out about it with me.
Yeah,
Oh,
just a heads
pretty
up.
sure she got accidentally. Yeah.
Someone just called PVK and said that someone's paid money to shoot him.
Lovely. Okay.
Well, everyone. Okay, we'll just stay
So
in
you
here.
know what that means.
Patrick,
If you want, you
you
do
are
not have to
assigned to
accept it.
PVK if he wants it.
If you want it, you can have
wait,
the sheriff for protective detail.
I'll take the protective detail.
All right.
Uh,
Patrick, it's all you.
Okay, well, hold on. Wait, today's crazy busy. I could do it for a bit, but I have
That's
breach
fine.
training in okay.
I only need
Yeah,
it for
sure.
the extent of this court stay, and then I will
Yep.
sleep in chambers.
Got it. I can handle that.
I mean,
all right.
we have a good amount of the police force here, so.
Huh, they definitely
Yeah.
said they want to shoot the new justice.
We already dealt with that. So
$50,000.
How much?
50,000.
Man,
PVK, I think you're worth more than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is
yeah,
very
let's-
cheap, actually.
Don't get
yeah,
shot.
I was gonna say
I would like to point out,
assassinations of a
latest,
high-ranking official usually cost more than that. To be
Latest
honest.
tweet from Farmer Jonesy requests telling people that he's buying gold bars and bill straps. Take
He is
that.
currently in police custody, so.
How much does Smoker Homie cost these days?
Oh my! Welcome back.
You have to
Excuse you?
contact
Danny?
your local FDF person.
I think last time I saw an advertisement, it was only $5,000.
Something you'd like
Right.
to tell me, Danny?
No. I'm just saying, like they're
You-
paying 10 times more than Smoker Homie to go after this guy.
Hey, I mean, oh no, sheriffs have funding now. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I did just pay you guys for the foreclosure stuff, so.
Well, once it gets wrapped up out there, we'll get through this. It looks like after we talk about these,
Ew.
like the big group will get done after that, so we'll be almost done.
Hold on,
Hopefully.
which one am I in right now?
Okay.
So, what do you guys think so far?
I like the proposed changes.
I
but
like the
So
I
far,
like the
so good.
proposal, but I also think that we, as a department, do need to talk with officers because it is hardwired in everyone's head that we cannot go below half and half, and that's a concern
I'm
for
gonna
me.
talk about. We're going to
Yeah,
talk
that's
about
been
that
a long-term
internally.
policy that's
Okay,
since been
thank you, Shield,
dropped.
because
We
I was
shouldn't be
trained
going
that way,
below
and
half,
I've
period.
yeah.
Hey.
Sorry, what was that, Shield? Could you repeat that?
We should not be going below half.
Well, then that means that we do need the
My God.
other charge then for tampering.
I agree. Absolutely.
I'm sorry about that.
I have a question about evading.
That's also the experience I've had.
What?
What about
question?
evading?
Uh, is there a way to change it from evading when we're charging them after we actually apprehend them? Because to me, evading means they get away, and that's when we write the warrant and charge them with evading.
No, that's not it at all. Evading can be we run and we catch them too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's as soon as they
Evading just means they are
just
running
just
away
put
in
their
a
feet
vehicle.
on the gas pedal.
I was maybe gonna have it as like resisting arrest or wording it
Hey.
something different.
Let me just scooch in here, guys.
We have resisting arrest. That's when they're
That's when
running
they're
away
evading
on
on
foot.
foot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
one's
Yeah,
on foot,
but,
one's
like-
in a car.
Computers hell today. You keep that shit up, okay?
Yeah, that-
clumsy.
If you're querying that, it might be that someone's not pressing the meshes on correctly, but with evading,
Don't
it can
cry,
be
don't cry,
any time.
King.
It doesn't
Keep
matter.
your head up.
Okay, all right.
As long as it's in a car, obviously.
Okay.
Has outside been handled
Cut your
yet?
hair.
What did I miss?
It's handling.
Okay. Looks like people are starting to filter back in, so if we want to get seated so
Okay.
we can get through this.
We were on obstruction, weren't we? That's where we were up to.
Yes, we're working on obstruction A.
What? The deck of cards?
Whose deck of cards is
Oh,
that?
Jay. I don't actually know. Has that always been there?
That wasn't always there. I did. Don't tell anybody.
Oh, I guess I smell shield pump.
Justice is Justice Byron coming back?
No, he had to go to bed. But he'll write up notes. He has your document.
Hey, I got 5 cards. Let's play.
So it's just the 3 of us now.
Okay. So if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and continue.
Everyone, please take a seat. Definitely lost a lot of people during that recess.
Yeah.
Maybe they're still dealing with the stuff outside. Should I wait just a little longer?
Yo, count cards, man. Count cards.
I actually used to know how to do that a little.
Okay, well, here goes the first one.
People still filtering. It looks like some people are still filtering in.
You want to play some blackjack? Hey, shower.
Yeah, I just put a tweet out saying that we're getting back underway, so
Play go fish. All right, here. No, blackjack.
we might get people filtering in.
Can you see my cards or do I have to reveal them? I don't know if you have to reveal. I can see mine. Okay, yeah, so you do have to reveal them. Oh.
I do see the assistant sheriff is absent, so I would like to wait for him to show back up.
The asked sheriff will not be able to attend for a while. He had to go 42 for an hour or two. I can fill in his place.
Understandable. Okay, so with that, I guess we'll go ahead and get back underway here. I went ahead and also filled in requested charges here for the classification of obstruction A. So currently, the proposal for obstruction A would be a misdemeanor, punishable by 10 months and a $5,000 fine. The definition for obstruction A would be to indirect obstruction with the evidence, discovery, apprehension, conviction, or punishment of a crime after a crime has committed or charged. This is to help encompass people that are getting hit with this large penalty for stuff as much as just saying they dropped off a car for a friend because they asked for it. Instead, they've been getting hit with large charges just for dropping a car to a friend unknowing to what's going on. This would be followed up with obstruction B, with a proposed felony for 15 months and $10,000, which is the direct obstruction with the evidence, discovery, apprehension, conviction, or punishment of a crime after a crime has been committed or charged. So it breaks this down into two different charges depending on the severity. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns with these proposed changes?
So, just for the purposes of like demonstration, what would and wouldn't class as direct and indirect? I guess is just for clarity's sake. Like, so you said somebody leaving a car for a friend
Would be an indirect. They're not directly obstructing. Direct obstruction would be coming in and picking somebody up, getting involved in a gunfight, blocking a pathway actively in your car. Those would be direct forms of obstruction.
Right, okay.
This could also actually apply now with the obstruction A to people who call the 911 line with false reporting, as it would be interfering with the said apprehension and discovery of crimes being committed or charged. Any other questions or concerns?
Now, this one sounds pretty straightforward and necessary. It helps alleviate a lot of concern on both ends, I feel.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next set here. This is going to be introducing a new charge for any crimes of violence. These will get rid of the ×2 unless directly attacking an officer because they are a said officer. But this would be the simple assault of an LEO with a misdemeanor, chargeable by 10 months and $2,500. This is the same definition of simple assault, but on an LEO. This is followed by assault of an LEO, misdemeanor, 20 months, $5,000 fine. Aggravated assault of an LEO, felony, proposal of 25 months, $7,500. Then we move into simple battery of an LEO, felony, 15 months, $4,000. Battery, felony, 25 months, $7,500. And then aggravated battery of an LEO, felony, 30 months, and $10,000. Any questions, comments, or concerns with those ones?
I do have a question. Is it while they're in the line of duty, or is it when they're off duty as well?
It does state in the definition here that it would be upon an on-duty LEO.
Okay. Guess I didn't catch that part.
Okay. So if somebody is attacked while off duty, specifically because they're a law enforcement officer, it will still be classified as a normal assault or violent crime per the penal code.
That is correct.
But that's where the ×2 would come into play.
If they are,
it would still be applied during that, just while the line is.
yes, if you were targeted off duty for being an officer, you would still get the ×2. While on duty, it would be this, which most of these equal out to about 1.5 instead of the 2 times.
Oh, no, that makes sense. I just couldn't hear a part of that explanation.
Okay, the next one we're looking at would be a rewording of the GTA B charge. Currently, this charge, when it occurs against a government vehicle or officer vehicle, can be charged ×2. The rewording and redefinition would still classify this as a felony. The charge would now be 30 months and $15,000. The new definition would be unlawfully taking any vehicle covered under PC 1205 and any other vehicle owned by a government entity or organization. This removes the need for the ×2 clause at the end.
So, for the reference of the people present, PC 1205 is any property issued to a public servant, which includes police cars, aircraft, city buses, park ranger vehicles, ambulances, airport ground equipment, military vehicles, and weaponry. Issued to a public servant being the key part there.
Also, the way it's worded right now, technically, if an officer wanted to, they could double it.
Oh.
So this removes that chance, though I don't think any cop has done that I'm aware of.
What, on GTA?
Oh, it has definitely been done as
definitely
double.
has been.
Okay, I personally haven't seen it, but I
Yeah,
also
so
haven't
this
done lawyer
removes
work in
that.
2 years.
I think I
I
had a
did.
question. Let me just reread the definition.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, because at the moment GTA B, you could have it double. There's no need for it to be double because it's already a bigger charge than A anyway.
Exactly. So this is the removing that double charge.
Ensuring that every government vehicle is properly labeled.
Yes.
Question.
And question first.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm not trying to be an asshole, trying to be mean. But this is mostly towards Piper up there. Just how are you supposed to see anyone's charges? Because I've been in the cells a lot, and I know a lot of my friends have, and usually the Chief Justice isn't down there in these kind of charges, so it's just like a lot of the times.
What I said?
What are you
I said I
talking
haven't
about?
done it in over 2 years, but I didn't see it when I was a lawyer. But I also do see
That was 2
charges when
years
they
ago.
come across with summaries and bench trials and things like that. So I do see charges, and I also have lawyers that vent to me a lot.
Well, a lot of the times when the cops can double it or can do something like stack charges, they definitely will.
Well, I personally
Especially
haven't
the
seen it since I've
LSPD.
become a justice, but when I was a lawyer, I never saw it.
This
Things
is
may
something
have
I've
changed.
That was
seen
again
occurring
2
a
years
lot
ago.
recently.
I've not been a lawyer for 2 years. A lot of stuff has changed.
That is true. A lot of stuff has changed, and that is why I have been fighting for this charge to be changed for well over 2 years now. Because this has been within the penal code for a long time, where the stipulation of GTA B is if it is covered within government vehicles, which encompasses everything but fire trucks, they can double it as it currently stands. This is a proposed change by me, because I have been fighting for this to be changed for well longer than 2 years.
I'm sure
has
you
been an
have.
ongoing issue
Anyways,
in
I have
the-
a question. What's
Yes, Mr. Mal.
what's the time and fine?
I think it's the same, isn't it?
No, the proposed
No, you
is
changed
30 and 15,
So
which
if I
is
take
up for
a-
discussion.
If I take a bus, I get 30 and 15.
If it is covered under PC 1205.
Is a bus like a
If it was
transportation bus?
If it was
under
issued
that?
to a public servant, i.e., if a member of the police force was driving a prison bus, for instance, and you stole
okay, I
that,
see.
then yes.
Or a military transport vehicle, something like that. A city bus is not a public servant.
City
Very
buses
cool.
are covered within the definition currently.
What buses?
City buses are covered within the
Yeah, that's what I
definition.
was talking about.
Yes.
Oh, city bus. Sorry.
However, it specifically states issued to a public servant.
Which means that it would
How
be
do you
against a
issue a city bus to a
named
public
entity,
servant?
as it were. So, for instance, if it would basically be they would have to name who it was stolen from.
So in that case, so I've just noticed PT 1205 as it stands now does include city buses. But yeah, it would have to be issued to a public servant, which means actually, sorry, excuse me, it'd have to be changed anyway because the Davis units that drive the police vehicles around, that would still count as GTA B. So it would have to be looked at that we remove city buses from that list.
Cool.
And
I can
change it to
propose that
remove
change.
Change it to remove the issue to a public servant, just have it as government vehicles, because obviously, you know, Mr. Davis PD are not on our books, but it's still a government vehicle. Yeah, stealing a city bus and getting, what is it, 13, 15 is the proposed, would be a bit ridiculous.
I do agree with that. I've taken notes on that to remove city buses and only apply this to government vehicles.
Airport ground equipment is also listed in that. Would that be considered government?
That would be a question for the justices.
We don't run the airport, I don't think. So I don't think it should be considered government property.
It could be amended whereby it's fine if they're inside airport grounds, but when it leaves and is on the city streets, that's when it's a problem.
What is a GTA B? Because it's not government property.
I would say it's GTA A, personally.
I think it's GTA A because we don't run an airport.
So with the new definition to remove city buses and it only cover government vehicles, the airport vehicles would not be considered government vehicles.
I don't think so, personally. Up to the justices what they feel on that, but that's what I feel.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one if there's no other questions, comments, or concerns. The next proposed charge is a charge called grave robbery. It would be a misdemeanor chargeable by 5 months and a $3,000 fine. The definition would be the act of stealing valuables, artifacts, or remains from graves or tombs. This can include stealing jewelry, precious metals, and other items of value, as well as human remains for illegal trade or sale. I'll open the floor for questions, comments, and concerns on that one.
Would that be stackable with possession of stolen goods?
No, I don't think it should be.
Yeah, I don't think it should be
I
either.
agree.
That is not defined currently, but I could get that into the definition that this is not stackable.
Please.
What was the time and fine?
5 and 3.
Any other questions or concerns with that one?
And this is also because desecration of corpse would be the wrong charge, right? This is just to add a
Yes.
charge for the specific.
Correct,
Desecration of the
because
corpse.
desecration doesn't cover the final resting place.
It's only while they're in interment. So
Yeah, sounds
stealing it from the morgue before it's put, that's desecration of a corpse. Once it's buried, it's no longer an interment, which is what our penal code says.
As it currently stands, there was a temporary precedent set by myself in order to cover for the lack of a grave robbery charge existing.
Sounds good, thank you.
I apologize. Would you be able to repeat that one more time?
As it currently stands, before we had this grave robbery charge proposed, I set a temporary precedent in order to make sure that appropriate punishment could be at the very least placed on those who attempted to rob graves.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the next one. The next proposed change is disrupting of medical neutrality. This is a proposed felony with a 20-month charge and a $10,000 fine. This is defined as disrupting medical neutrality refers to any intentional or unintentional action that interferes with the provision of medical care or the impartiality of healthcare providers in conflict situation. Medical neutrality is a principle of international humanitarian laws and requires that medical personnel and facilities be protected and that the patients be treated without discrimination based on their political affiliation, nationality, and other factors. Any comments or concerns with that one?
Is this a so what would be the example of this charge being used?
What do you mean by discharge?
No. What no. What would be
Where
example
would the
of
charge be used?
Yes.
This would be if medical staff was in pillbox working on a patient and individuals came in there firing weapons. This would be the disruption of medical neutrality. If there's a triage point set up and people are giving care and somebody was to attack said triage, this also covers people being refused medical care as well.
Would this be stackable with hostage taking with regards to if medical staff is held up to secure the release of somebody?
This would not be. It is a higher charge.
Okay, so it would default to this over hostage taking. Okay.
Yes.
What's the time and fine on this again?
20 months and $10,000.
I'll forward you the.
But this
I
also
see it. I just don't have it in front of me.
is to help
Okay.
stop any kind of bias saying that, oh, I will not treat you because you did this or that.
So that does present a problem because there are those people that do, in this state, hurt themselves quite frequently, and I have to go to the same place 3 times for the same person. Does that still mean that I'm breaking medical neutrality at that point? If I don't go to them for the 4th time?
I would honestly, if somebody is doing the same thing over and over again in the same place, hurting themselves repeatedly, include law enforcement in your next visit, as they obviously are having some kind of issue to cause them to be hurting themselves over and over.
Yeah. Because I've been told by the medical director that if people are continuously hurting themselves, that local EMS may treat them instead.
What?
You're not denying the medical care at that point because the locals are handling them.
A denial of medical care would be somebody walking into pillbox after, for instance, being shot and you saying, no, I'm not going to help you.
As long as there's locals there, you'll be covered.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So if I get medical for some odd reason, and I go into the hospital, and the doctors say, let the locals treat you, I will not look at you, and then leave me on the floor, that's okay?
Well, no, they would have to make sure you're standing and get you over
Well,
to the locals.
I got terrible and bad news for everyone here. That's literally happened to me on multiple occasions.
Well, this proposed new law would help prevent that situation from happening any
Would it?
further.
Are you sure?
This is
Also-
my best attempt to create or resolve
I
that
think
issue.
that if you're having some problems with the medical staff, I'd recommend talking to the directors so they can look at conducting an IA investigation if you feel that there's a problem going on.
Who's the director? Who do I talk to?
I don't have the current list, but maybe the doctor sitting behind me does.
Hi, you can talk to Matu Davidson or MFS Tiggins, who are the directors, they're the co-directors of the hospital.
Yeah, okay. Because I got bad
So-
news for you. It's you.
I'm
I'm calling you out in front of everybody. It's literally you.
When have I refused medical care to you?
2 days ago,
2 days ago.
there was 3 birds that came into the Schultz Medical Hospital, and then you locked yourself behind a door and didn't come to see us. That's real. That's real.
Literally had just clocked on, and I'd been.
Are you running away saying we're harassing you and then locking yourself behind a door? That's okay? Because to me, that's not what a doctor does. A doctor should help me, not lock themselves behind a door. But hey, At the end of the day, I didn't go to med school.
I think that issue would be best addressed with a director of medical services. But I do hear your concerns, sir. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns on that one? Also be aware these charges do still have to go through the justices for approval before any of these would be enacted as any type of law. These are all currently proposals to them. The next charge being proposed is the violation of parole. This would be a felony charge, and the fine and time would be up to the judge's discretion based on previous actions causing them to be enrolled in parole. Defined by the violation of parole occurs when a parolee fails to comply with the terms and conditions of their parole agreement. This is pretty straightforward, but if anybody has any questions or concerns, I'd open the floor now.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat that.
We've had how many instances of parole have we had in the state so far? 2.
2 pending a third. There is one that's technically out on parole, but his parole officer is no longer with the state. So, but I can't get involved as I was the victim of his crime, and I'm staying out of that one. But we have had 2 successful parole things, and we're planning on expanding the program as much as we can. Kaya has been a big help with that.
Okay, if there's no other questions or... Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
Would these times and fines be set by the justice at the onset of parole, or would it be based on the time? Would it be worked out at the time of violation, i.e., as part of their parole agreement, it states that if they violate their parole, this is the time and fine that they will serve, or is that something that we review once they violate their parole?
It's a situation. I'm not going to say the name, but person A that had parole, he got out early, and a part of his parole, when we set up the conditions of it, if he violated it, he'd have to go back for the 7 years that he was getting out early. Now
would be
there
set
is
upon parole terms.
yeah. Then there's the other situation with someone who was a lifer that's coming out on parole. We can't be like, oh, you got to go do the rest of your term that we're letting you out early. We would have like a timer fine set for that, or they would just go back to life in jail.
Or to finish the rest of their sentence, whichever.
Yeah.
It would depend on the situation itself, as well as how the parole is set up.
Okay. Thank you, Yvonne.
So that brings us to our next one. This is a proposal to add the definition for cocaine. This would be under possession of a condensed Schedule 1 substance. This would be a felony with 15 months, $7,500 fine. The definition would be cocaine packaged into a single bulk unit, i.e. bricks and or pallets. Questions, comments, concerns? Perfect. We'll go to the next one. And this one is to address uncut oxy. This would be now possession of a condensed Schedule 2 substance proposed with a felony, 10 months, $5,000 fine. The definition is any raw form of uncut oxy without prescription. I'll open the floor to any questions, comments, concerns on any of this, as that is my last one.
So, just for the purposes of kind of clarity, where do these fit in terms of like with the pre-existing charges we have in terms of Like, is
So these would be their own charges. Is currently there is no definitive definition for bricks of cocaine, and there is no definitive definition on uncut oxy. So these are to help encompass them into a actionable charge.
From what I understand, currently, if you had a brick of cocaine, you're getting charged for one baggie of cocaine.
okay? So these, right? So the time and fine is similar to
what?
11 to 30 currently.
Huh?
Did you just come
Dude,
in
it just
from
took
the...
me so long to find the fucking bathroom, bro.
What?
How did
Ignore
you...
it. Keep going on. Just go on.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
Negative.
That was the
It's got a lock on it, it should
craziest
be locked.
slide ever. I want to go on that water slide. So does anybody have anything else they would like to propose for me to adjust for the penal code as a proposed adjustment?
I feel like I should say this in the absence of Amy Stranger. Have you considered legalizing evading?
Ew.
You want to know
No.
something? We have told her that if she wants to try to propose it, she needs to come talk with the Solicitor General. And we've told her this 20 times.
I know.
She never came
Stop
to the
giving her
meeting.
Please.
I
I'll ta-
refuse to.
That's fine. I will tell her
I
no.
hear
That's
that
okay.
argument.
Too, but she didn't even take the opportunity. We said to go there, but she never did.
What about that former client of yours?
Anybody out there have any proposed changes they'd like to see?
No.
Hey, why are crowbars illegal?
They're currently. Where's the PC?
Legal tool.
I can't remember the PC, but it is covered under illegal tools currently.
1204B.
That would be it.
Use the wrench instead.
I mean, sometimes
Actually-
you can't get a crate open with a wrench, though. Like, that's...
I actually do have a question. Speaking of illegal tools, when were lockpicks added to the penal code?
About 3 years ago.
They've been there for a very, very, very long time.
They have.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's no charge for them, but they're listed as an illegal item.
One of those where if you're using them in a bad thing, then we can charge you. And we can take them anytime though.
Hey, can I charge a cop with petty theft for stealing my vest?
No.
Why not?
Because you're not a cop, you can't charge them.
Can I get them charged?
I mean, you can try.
You say try, but wouldn't that still be theft? Like, what do you mean try?
I can't promise that anyone will be charged because we'd have to look at each individual situation, right?
Like, what if they took my vest in the cells?
Yeah, that shouldn't be done.
So can I hit them with petty theft if I ask for it? Or is it going to be, oh, it's going to be investigated and we'll give you it back later? What if I want to push charges?
Could always try to sue him for the amount of
Yeah, that's
time.
what I was
don't
gonna
want to sue
say.
him. So then I got to come here and it takes like, nah, I'm good. Can I just charge him?
You're not a cop.
That's fine. Can I just press charges? What do I have to do a suit?
Then you need to get
Over a
lawyer.
$2,500 vest.
You would have to do a suit.
Oh my god.
Or
I mean,
go
you
to
can
the
have them
arresting
investigate
officer. And the arresting officer may supply you with the money for a new vest. That would be another option.
I like that option.
Wait, people are taking your vests?
Bro,
You
they've
think-
taken my
you
vest
think we get
and
paid
then,
for that?
and destroyed them.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Hey, quick question: are there any lawyers
Recently,
in this courtroom
too.
right now?
Really? That's
Yes.
Yes, I'm a lawyer,
guys
sir.
know me,
There's
that's-
two
No, I know
lawyers
you.
I'm looking at right now.
Which
and
two?
possibly a third very shortly.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and a paralegal in the back. Oh,
Anyone need to help me
I did want
The
to ask
flat
you.
cap, The flat cap and the Todd Fungi love child.
I need. Never mind. Hey, can one of y'all lawyers help me sue PD?
Depends.
We
what
could
it's for.
discuss that
Yeah,
after
we could discuss
this.
that after.
Thank you. I'm looking
I'd
for
be more than happy
$400,000.
to sue Mr. Kyleson here as he's insulted my looks.
Well, lucky you. It's LSPD getting the sue.
Can we make it illegal for cops to insult people?
Would it be
We
illegal for
could,
you
but
to
then
insult
criminals
them?
need to stop doing the same. It's a
Shut up,
two-way street.
Shields.
I think I'd rather hear the banter.
Yeah, I'd rather hear banter. Freedom of speech. Let them
Yeah, keep
roast
going.
each other.
Yeah, Magic getting mad at banter.
Shut up, Banks.
Who the hell is Banks?
The cop back there, the one that barks.
Oh. Anything from you, justices?
I'm going to take the
I have
silence.
nothing.
Oh,
Voice Piper.
I don't have anything to say. I've already looked over this document quite a bit, so I don't really have. I have my thoughts on like. Blaze has my thoughts on it.
Okay, well, if no one else has any questions, concerns, comments, or additions to the request, then we'll go ahead and end this meeting and let you all go about your day. Thank you, everybody, for coming and being a part of this and helping us reform this penal code together.
It's mine, my bad.